Hey everyone, this is the second lecture video for EDPC 662 Career Psychology, entitled Career Theories Overview, Holland in particular. For this lecture, I will be briefly going over some concepts regarding approaching theories in career psychology. Then, we will take a look at Holland's theory of vocational personalities and work environments, and the elements it is comprised of. So at this point in the course, we turn our attention to the established theories within the career psychology field, as well as the tests and assessments associated with them. To briefly establish our standpoint as we begin to explore these theories, I would like you to keep a few concepts in mind. First, remember that a theory is a series of connected hypothetical statements meant to explain behavior or behaviors. Next, a good theory helps us represent reality, understand behavior, and help us assist our clients in understanding their own behavior. Finally, when applying a theory in practice with clients, it is effective to propose theory-informed hypotheses to the client to be collaboratively developed, refined, and critically assessed for its applicability over time. Now, on to Holland's theory. Holland developed his theory in 1958 with the proposition that personality types can be arranged in a coded system. He proposed 6 modal personal orientation themes that comprise his theory. They are realistic, investigative, artistic, social, enterprising, and conventional. In the 1970s, Holland's theory was applied to the strong interest inventory as a means to measure personality types and match them to potential careers of interest. Holland perceived the careers individuals choose to be linked to their personalities, and therefore that those drawn to certain occupations will have similarities in their personalities and histories. PE fit, or personality environment fit, proposes that those who work in environments that match their personality types will be more satisfied and successful, that there is a bidirectional relationship between person and environment, and that both person and environment have personality characteristics. Holland's theory is one of a collection of theories that are grounded in these assumptions. It is also the theory that most fully embodies them. For his 6 personality types, Holland sets forth a description of each type, the characteristic set of attitudes and skills associated with them, and the most likely preferences for career and leisure activities, life goals and values, beliefs about oneself, and problem-solving styles those with the type will have. As mentioned, these personality types are not only applied to individuals, but also to the workplace environments themselves. For his 6 personality types, Holland sets forth a description of each type, the characteristic set of attitudes and skills associated with them, and the most likely preferences for career and leisure activities, life goals and values, beliefs about oneself, and problem-solving styles those with the type will have. As mentioned, these personality types are not only applied to individuals, but also to the workplace environments themselves. Holland's theory poses and attempts to answer 3 fundamental questions. First, what characteristics of individuals and environments lead to positive or negative vocational outcomes? 2, what characteristics of individuals and environments lead to career stability or change over the lifespan? And what are the most effective ways of providing assistance to people with career concerns? Holland has 4 constructs for his theory that help depict how the 6 types relate to one another. These constructs all fall within the assumption of calculus. The 4 constructs are congruence, differentiation, consistency, and identity. It is important to note that each of the constructs can be applied to an individual or a working environment. I will briefly go over each of these constructs. Before I do so, again we return to the hexagon diagram as a visual guide for the types' interrelatedness, with each type occupying a corner. Calculus is a secondary assumption in Holland's theory that postulates that the types are ordered around the hexagon so that those next to each other are equally distant from each other. For example, the distance from realistic and investigative is the same as investigative and artistic, and that those opposite on the hexagon are the least similar. This image provides a visual demonstration of relatedness, or congruence, between Holland's personality types. You'll notice that this reflects the calculus principle in that the types immediately next to one another have the greatest relatedness and the furthest have the least. Congruence refers to the fit between the interests and work environment. The greater the congruence, the greater predicted job satisfaction, length of time on the job, and achievement in that job. Congruence is measured by matching the code for the individual with the code for the occupation. Based on the assumption of calculus, an individual with a primarily social type personality would have low congruence with a workplace environment that is of a realistic nature. Differentiation refers to how clear the difference is between the individual's likes and dislikes. In Holland's theory, an individual or environment can have more than one type. Often, an individual is identified by their highest measured 2 or 3 matching types. Consistency refers to how close high codes or types are. For example, realistic and investigative types together would be consistent, while realistic and social would not. Finally, identity refers to the clarity and stability of an individual's goals, interests, and talents. Last, I'd like to look at some of the caveats that are important to know when considering applying Holland's theory with a client. When considering a theory or applying it, it is important to acknowledge the context of which it was developed, and with whom in mind it was developed. Holland's theory was developed in the mid-20th century, exclusively using Americans as a basis for the model. This monocultural development comes with assumptions and questionable generalizability. As a consequence, it is often critiqued for its value on personality, individualism, and independent decision-making, very much the values representative of American culture at the time of its development. Finally, there are translations from the original English that exist, but because they were originally created explicitly for research purposes, they are often found to be inconsistently accurate, and they are not appropriate to use in counseling contexts. That concludes the second lecture for career psychology. I hope you all found that helpful, and I'll look forward to seeing you on Thursday.